Okay, I think we are live now.
We are live. Shavua Tov. Happy Hanukkah.
What of to everyone, Hag Sameach, to you, Avidan, and to everyone watching us today.
How has your Hanukkah been so far?
Look, it's been amazing, I have to say. I've got already like 3 Hanukkah presents, and I think I'm getting a lot this American vibe, giving so many presents for Hanukkah. So it's been quite amazing. What about yours, Avidan?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Today I went to shul actually. I went to shul and we did Hallel outside. We finished Shacharit, or whatever. We finished the whole thing, and then stood in the courtyard and sang Hallel. So that actually was a beautiful moment of joy, of joy to sing with people. Right? When was the last time we were able to do that?
And actually sing with people and feel that everyone is singing quite at the same time and not like every screen 1 second apart from each other with a lot of noise.
Exactly. So it's to be grateful for the little things.
You got a little bit your own Hanukkah miracle, I see today.
That's right. That's right. Very good. So yeah, so we'll do Havdallah together, and then I brought a little teaching for us, a little Hanukkah Torah, that I'm excited to share, and then we'll light candles together. Um, so I guess I'll move my camera in a certain, but we'll figure it out. To get to the window. So here we'll start with Havdalah.
Here, one of the presents for Hanukkah I got is the Abdallah Candle, finally.
This one's also new. All right. So for everyone watching at home, this is pick up your bigger candle before the little candle.
I will mute so everyone can hear you better singing, but I will be singing with you.
Okay, I believe you. Hine el Yeshuati Eftach velo efchad Ki ozim ezimrat Adonai Vayili Lishua Ushavtem Besason Mimaine Yeshua Adonai Yeshua Bichatecha Sela Adonai Tzevaot Imanu Miskavlanu Eloi Yaakov Sela Adonai Tzevaot Ashrei Adam Boteach Bach Adonai Oshia Melech Yaneinu V'Yom Koreinu LaYehudim Aita Ora V'Simcha V'Sason V'Ikar Kenti Elanu Kos Yeshuot Esau B'Shem Adonai Eka Nai Nai Na 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 Nai 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 Na 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 Nai 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 Na 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 Nai Nai Na Na Nai Na 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 Nai Nai Na 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 Nai 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 Na 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 Nai 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 Na 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 Nai Nai Na Na Nai Na 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 Nai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim na 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 na. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh. Nai nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai. Nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai na na nai na 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 nai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh lechol beino lechoshech ben Yisrael le'amim ben yom hashvi l'sheshet yemei hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai hamavdil ben kodesh lechol na 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 na. Yai nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai nai na na nai na 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 nai. Nai na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na 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 nai na na nai na 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 na.
Shkoyech, shkoyech. Thank you that you let me in. I just wanted to see how you doing.
Of course. Good Vach, Rav Gavo.
Good work. It's a special one. This is why today I also wanted to come in. So this is,
Perfect. Where did you get that yarmulke?
I think for many years I was in Mea Shearim and I just bought it, and then every Hanukkah I find it and take it out, even if it's a little bit broken already, but it gives so much light.
Of
Then
course.
it should be, yeah, it should
And
be
some and sometimes they come with payas already attached.
sometimes, yeah, but this no need in this case. It's
That's great. That's great. Well, Shavua Tov, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Happy third night of Hanukkah. Um, and in honor of the third night, so this actually works out very well. I want to share a little piece of Hanukkah Torah from one of my favorite teachers, from one of my favorite books, called the Pachad Yitzchak. The Pachad Yitzchak is a collection of teachings from Rabbi Yitzchak Hutner, who a 20th century rabbi, teacher, thinker, born in Poland, studied philosophy at the University of Berlin, like all of the great rabbis of the 20th century, and made a career for himself in the United States. His Torahs are a combination of philosophy and ideas from the Torah and the Talmud and the Hasidic thought. Really, he's a master of putting it all together. And I wanted to share just a short piece with us tonight. No more than 10 minutes, should be relatively quick, but deep, even if it's not so long. So if you don't mind, I'll share my screen just so we have what to look at. Okay, can we see? Let me see. So yeah, we can see. Good. Perfect. So Rav Hutner here is going to speak about what was so bad that the Greeks did to the Hebrews, to the Israelites, when they conquered Israel, and at the end what it has to tell us about the nature of light and darkness and their relationship. So I'll just read and give an explanation. But please, both everyone's welcome to jump in, both those on the call and those watching at home. So we'll take comments from anywhere. So it's all good. So the opening, we're jumping in right in the middle, just for the context, right? It begins with a conversation of the multiple kingdoms that have conquered Israel. Right? There's a famous prophecy in the book of Daniel, about the 4 kingdoms that will conquer Israel before the end of days, before the Messiah. And we have Babylonia, and we have Media, we have Greece, and we have Rome. And what Rav Hutner does in a previous passage is he associates each of those characters, each of those kingdoms, with the very famous second verse in the Torah, of the chaos and void that was all around the world. And the verse is Tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehom, right? The earth was chaos and nothingness, and there was darkness over the whole void. So what he does is he says that tohu and vohu, right? Those 2 words that we don't even really know what they mean, those are associated with Babylonia and Media. Choshech, right? That third one, choshech, that is Greece. Okay, and then the 4th one is Rome. We'll get there. But Choshech, right? That's how he's making the connection. So we jump in. What was the nature of the Greek conquest of Israel? Right, we see that Greece darkened. Right, the word for darken is choshech. Right, and in verb form it's chashach. Darkened the eyes of Israel with their decrees that caused Israel to forget Torah. Right, so part of the story of Hanukkah is that when the Greeks came in and took over the temple and put idols everywhere, right? Part of the new rule was the ban on studying Torah. Right, and that's why the legend of spinning dreidel is that, right, they were really studying Torah, and then when the Greeks would come, they say, "Oh, we're just playing," right, and that's why we have dreidels. Okay, fine. So what he's doing here, right? He's drawing a connection between these decrees that caused us to forget Torah, right, with darkness. And the linguistic play here is between chashach, to darken, and shachach. You can hear the similarity. This darkening forgetting, which is my translation, is what caused the first machloket in the Sanhedrin. The multiplicity of ideas and contradictory methods that characterizes this war of Torah has its origin in that exact moment of Greek decree. So the idea is, right, for years and years and years, Torah was being taught. It was smooth, right? There were teachers and students. It was very clear. And once you have these decrees that make it harder to study and learn Torah, right, that's when you start forgetting things. That's when people say, "Oh, what did he say? What did she say? What was that teaching there? I can't remember." You start to forget things, you make mistakes, and it creates this machloket, right? This disagreement about what the right thing is, right? And that's what characterizes our current situation, right? What he calls the War of Torah, right? It's just this battleground, right? Where we have arguments that are vicious, right? You're wrong, I'm wrong. I'm right, you're right, the whole thing. So he traces that back to this moment in Greece of that decree to ban Torah. Fine. And every resolution, an attempt to wrangle the multiplicity of opinions, which is a remnant of the redemption, even without all that deliverance, we are still left at the mercy of the hardship that was born at the hands of the Greeks. Which is to say that even when at some point we resolve machloket, right, even when we come to an answer, right, there are still way more disagreements than there are resolutions, right? And so even though the Maccabees were successful in pushing away the Greeks and sort of saying no more disagreements, we are going to bring our truth, right? Even so, we are still left with this disagreement characterizing our conversations. But Rav Hutner says the following: the lesson here is so much deeper than this initial reading, as we are about to see. So now he's going to bring in a very important idea, which he refers to in many, many of his teachings, which is a paradox, right? This idea called in Hebrew bitula zokiyuma, which is the concept that breaking the rules, doing something against the rules, is in fact a fulfillment of the original point of the rules. And we have that all the time, in law, right, where the original law is so old that it no longer applies. And actually, to do the right thing according to the law is to break the law, right? The whole character of Batman wouldn't exist otherwise, right? Batman, this whole, right, a vigilante justice, right? That's what it means to truly fulfill something. So here, Batman and Rav Hutner in the same sentence. So here, but it is paradoxical, right? Is that the law says one thing, or our intuition says one thing, and it's actually the opposite. So what is the paradox here? The degree to which the prominence of Torah, right, the true power of Torah is revealed through machloket, right, is actually greater than when there is agreement. What does that mean? How is it possible that machloket is actually more of a complement to Torah than there is when there is agreement? So he brings in another idea that anything said in the discourse of Torah, in a conversation about Torah, is itself a new corner of that Torah, right? This idea that elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim, this and that, both what you said and what you said, are the words of a living God. Which is to say that all disagreements, I'm reading here, and everything generated from it, are within the realm of the discourse of Torah, even the most extreme views. We see, therefore, that the machloket of sages reveals the true power of Torah much more than when they agree. This war of Torah is not just one aspect of the many aspects of words of Torah. It is the positive creation of new elements of Torah itself, a force which lacks in standalone words of Torah. So we have, right, a machloket, right? Two people disagreeing. One says I'm right, one says I'm right, right? And it seems at first glance that this is not a good thing, right? This is the Greeks winning. That we say, oh, we got you, right? We caused you to forget your Torah. And now all of a sudden you're disagreeing, there's chaos, there's confusion, and no one knows who is right. Rav Hutner says that is the miracle of Torah, right? And that over this, and specifically the oral Torah, which he refers to, which he describes in the Hebrew, right? That is the power and the grandeur of Torah, is that over the years, new things are created through this back and forth. Even something that's so far out, right, is still part of the conversation. And we believe, and we feel it resonates, that anything that is said as part of this conversation, as in the Torah conversation, is actually, we are multiplying and increasing Torah in the world, right? That machloket, right, from two people steeped in the tradition that are debating each other, not because to prove that the other is wrong, but it's all for the sake of Torah, right? That actually is stronger, and that speaks to the power and ability of Torah to be a positive force in our lives, more than just if they agreed, right? If they just agreed, that's it. There's nothing more to say. The conversation is over, right? And just like when you have, two knives sharpening each other, right, and they both get sharper, that's what's produced through machloket. So we return to the beginning, and then now, so skipping to the end of the article, right? The current reality of machloket was born amidst the darkness of Greece, yet it is no remnant of the redemption from the Greeks, right? This is not about exactly what Judah Maccabee did to banish the Greeks, right? That actually is just the simple resolution of one machloket, right? That's just saying, okay, we fixed this one issue, fine, get out of here, Greeks. On the contrary, the liberation of Hanukkah, right, with the real sort of miracle, I would say, of Hanukkah, was the victory over the darkness of Greece by extracting the light from the darkness itself. Right? This idea, right? So then he quotes a famous line about Torah: Yagdil Torah v'yadir, let Torah multiply and shine forth. Right. So already this he's referencing a line that's associating the growth of Torah, the extension of Torah, and light. Right. And that forgetting the Torah leads to its growth. Annulment is its fulfillment. And from within that forgetting, from within the darkness, comes well springs of new Torah that are renewed every day. So I think what's going on here, and why this Torah speaks to me, and I do credit my Chavruta Yafa for helping me think this through, is that this is what we're doing when we light candles, right? When we light candles, when we bring that little bit of light into the world with our Chanukiyot, it's easy enough to say that with our light, we are pushing away the darkness, right? We create this dichotomy of forging our way through modernity, the darkness of modernity, and we have our absolute truth, and we're coming in and saying, here is our light, darkness, be gone, right? But what Rav Hutner is challenging us to do is to see the light as a part of the darkness, right? Is that we look at the darkness, and out of the darkness, we create light, which is much more difficult, but a much more rewarding thing to do, that we don't see the darkness as the absence of light. We see the darkness as the potential for light and for more light. And we have to draw it out, right? It's a challenge to draw it out. But that is that's what we're trying to do with every candle that we light.
So very, very nice, very, very cool, really.
Yeah.
But I just one thing is, at the beginning you said about the redemptions and about the exiles, right? So this is really, really great, because like the Tohu Vabohu is the Babel and Madai, yeah, and Yavan is dark, is Choshech. But the last Geula, the last Galut, yeah,
Exactly.
it's not needed. It's
I'm
not.
glad you asked. So are you asking, what do you do with the last galut?
Yeah, because actually, yeah, just this is very good question, because actually, like, we hope it will go away. So actually, like, Hanukkah represents the Galut of Greece, and it's not the last one. The last one is Rome. So it's we are, and now our sages say that we are till now we're in the Galut of Edom. So
Exactly. So I'll send it to you. So actually, in that's how he ends, right? He ends with saying, so why? What do we do now that we're in this galut of Rome, which for him is time, right? If Hanukkah is about space, right, and the actual space, or maybe even learning, right? Now we're in this time of exile, and the lesson of Hanukkah. Why was Hanukkah the last holiday to be established in our calendar? Right? Hanukkah is later than Sukkot, later than Pesach, later than Purim. It's because the lesson of Hanukkah about extracting light from the darkness is what we're supposed to do as we now exist in exile, in this Roman exile. Until the end of days, until the Messianic era, we are supposed to learn this lesson from Hanukkah of what it means to take light out of the darkness. And as and as we wait, we should keep that in mind. I think we should move now to the candles. I'm happy to stay spotlighted to do the candles over here. But I would love to keep talking about Rav Hutner. There's so many more good Hanukkah Torahs. This is only one. This is only one of them. So let me just.
No, but also, just while you're doing this, just because also you said it's after Sukkot, but like it's another attempt to go to the redemption, to come to the redemption. Look, because it's actually, yesterday I read it called also Hanukkah, called also Sukkot of Kislev, you know, because it's also eight days,
Sure.
And it's also it's about redemption. So
That may have something to do. I think that has something to do with like
it's
when
also,
the holidays. Yes, we can talk about that.
but this is very deep and very important thing about Hanukkah. Yeah, to
Yeah.
really to understand and not just to think that it's like only another. It's a Jewish
Right.
answer to the Christmas. You know.
Right,
And
right, right. Well, and that's probably why Shammai thinks we should light candles 8 to 1 instead of 1 to 8, because of the connection to Sukkot when you sacrifice the animals in a decreasing way. But I like to think, right, that the Hanukkah is 8 because, right, 7 is nature, right, 7 is teva, and 8 is one step outside of nature, one step outside of the rules that regularly,
yeah,
govern
this is
our
8.
world.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Okay, we ready? Sammy, ready?
Sam, maybe you doing the brachot today. You
Oh.
told me, Sam told me that he will do someday the brachot.
Perfect. Yeah, I can totally do the brachot for today.
Okay, bechavod, please.
But can you see the Hanukkah from here?
Absolutely.
Perfect. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו מצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של חנוכה.
Okay.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה נעשים לאבותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה.
בית תפילתי ושם תודה נזבח ויתכים מטבע מצורם נבח אז אגמור בשיר מזמור חנוכת המזבח אז אגמור בשיר מזמור
חנוכת
המזבח.
חג שמח.
All right, very good. Thank you for sharing this moment. And thank all of you who are checking in.
And thanks, Avidan, for bringing so much light with your var. It was really a powerful one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy to.
This was really the killer. Was really the best one. Yeah.
Oh, we have 5 more days. I hope it's not done.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. So tomorrow, the ones of you who like to watch more online stuff, tomorrow it's very important one. And then maybe if you don't come, it's okay. But tomorrow is most important. So it's a TED Talks Torah from BaseBerlin that we made some nice teachings and thoughts about Hanukkah, and it will go like a big and very cool talks, TED Talks, and it will be like 8 talks, each of them 8 minutes, and really nice and cool speakers from Berlin who will do this. So don't miss it, and yeah, till next week. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
See you next week. And tomorrow, what time?
Tomorrow it will be also at 7. It will start at 7 on Facebook Live from Base. Yeah.
Amazing.
So take care. Thank you for doing the brachot today. It's so important that it's always that we like Base, like it used to be like January made all the brachot. I think, or like Havdallah, but I think it's also important that you do, you know.
It's always nice. I hope you enjoy my Spanish accent with the brachot.
Very good, very good.
ברכות מתיות.
תודה.
ברכות. אוקיי.
ביי, שבוע טוב.
שבוע טוב.